Good evening and welcome to the Newshour Agenda, viewers. Yesterday, we saw anger spill onto the streets in Maharashtra's Badlapur, where two nursery class girls were sexually abused by a cleaning staff member working at a school. The railway track was blocked, train movement was stopped, and angry protesters went on a rampage, hurling stones on police personnel, resorting to vandalism inside the school as well. The protesters, of course, had alleged that there was a delay in police action, even in a heinous crime such as this. The incident took place in the washroom of the school on the 12th of August and the 13th of August. One of the girls narrated the ordeal to her parents on August 16th, and the accused was arrested a day later. The parents alleged that the FIR was lodged 12 hours after the complaint was filed. The police custody of the accused has been extended till the 26th of August. A day after these violent protests, politics now has erupted, with Chief Minister Eknath Shinde claiming that protests were politically motivated and aimed at maligning the state government. The Chief Minister also alleged that majority of the protesters were outsiders. The same was echoed by his party MP Milind Deora, who took to social media X to say that he's outraged by reports suggesting that stone pelting in Badlapur was orchestrated by opposition parties for cheap political gains, quote unquote. Let's first listen to what the CM said.
जे आंदोलन होतं हे पॉलिटिकल मोटिवेटेड होतं असं माझं म्हणणं आहे. कारण इतक्या फटाफट कधी आंदोलन जेव्हा होतं ते स्थानिक लोक असतात, इथं स्थानिक लोक हाताच्या बोटावर मोजण्या इतके होते आणि इतर ठिकाणून गाड्या भरून भरून त्या ठिकाणी आंदोलनकर्ते आले होते आणि मंत्री महोदयांनी समजून त्यांच्या सगळ्या मागण्या ज्या मागण्या होत्या त्या सगळ्या पूर्ण केल्या, तरी हटायचं काम नाव घेत नव्हते. याचा अर्थ त्यांना हे बदनाम करायचं होतं सरकारला.
सीएम खुद कह रहे हैं कि ये पॉलिटिकल कॉन्स्पिरेसी है.
क्राइम रेट बढ़ा है, कॉन्स्पिरेसी है पॉलिटिकल. देखो, मुझे तो लगता है कि उनको एक्सेप्ट करना चाहिए. थाने में जो क्राइम बढ़ा है उसमें उनका कितनी जिम्मेदारी है? जो बलात्कार हो रहा है उसको रोकने में उनकी क्या जिम्मेदारी है? जो बात करते हैं कि महिलाएं बात कर रही है, तो ऐसी बात करी से उन पे बलात्कार हो, उनके ऊपर क्या कार्रवाई? तो पत्रकार की महिला थी, तो ये सम्मान की बात है. वहाँ पे सबको मिलकर साथ में.
Congress Member of Parliament Eknath Shinde fanned the political fire further with her provocative comments. She said that the protests that took place yesterday were subdued and that people should have set things on fire. Listen in.
विकृत मानसिकता है लोगों में बाहर आ रही है, क्योंकि सत्ता में जो है वो इसका समर्थन कर रहे हैं.
आज प्रोटेस्ट हो रहा था वहाँ पे,
मैं तो कह रही हूँ प्रोटेस्ट तो बहुत सभ्य था, वहाँ पे तो आग लगानी चाहिए थी.
लाठीचार्ज की गई.
देखिए, यही है ये जो सत्ताधारी. हम तो डीसीएम जो होम मिनिस्टर है उनका रेजिग्नेशन मांग रहे हैं. जो लड़कियों के लिए आते हैं उनके ऊपर लाठीचार्ज की जाती है.
You're watching the News Hour at 10, debate number 1 on Times Now, Super Prime Time.
Let's open this up and take it across to our guest. Joining us, Charu Pragya, national spokesperson of BJP, is with us. Advocate Sushil Vyas, spokesperson of Shiv Sena Shinde faction, is with us. Rupali Patil Thombre, spokesperson of NCP. Ajit Pawar is with us. Sanjay Jha, author, joins us on the show. Pranay Ajmera, leader of NCP Sharad Pawar faction, is also with us. Anjali Davania, activist, is with us, as is Arka Kumar Nag, lawyer and political activist. Let me start first and foremost with Advocate Sushil Vyas. Advocate Sushil Vyas, you know, the crime is very, very painful. The fact that police does not act for 12 hours on such a crime, would it not infuriate you? Would you not want to hit the streets on protest if it happens in your neighborhood? What kind of statement is this to attribute complete political motives and not take responsibility?
Madhav, let me at very outset say that this is a very heinous crime. Nobody says that this is not a heinous crime and this should be condemnable. As far as the political motivation is concerned, what CM said in Marathi, let me, with respect, translate into English. He said the agitating people were not totally from the local area. Large number of people in large number of vehicles came from outside, and they were more politically motivated. He was not saying that originally those people since morning. See, the problem started late in the afternoon. Since morning, there was a peaceful agitation was going on. Then suddenly people in large number came. They were in front of school. They came to railway track. And then when the senior minister Girish Mahajan went there personally, he had our public address system, he tried to calm down the people. He tried to persuade them. All their demands crowd, whatever the demands were met, most of the demands were accepted still. Then he said, okay, look here, this is local trains of Mumbai, is a lifeline of Mumbai. People have gone to their services and jobs. They want to come back. So please allow these trains to run. And then when he was making this appeal, suddenly stone pelting was started. So
Mr. Vyas, that's very well. All that may have happened. The simple point I'm making is this, that the Chief Minister heads the administration of his or her state. If there is a failure of the police, bow your head down, accept the mistake and move on. Why play politics? What is the difference between Mr. Shinde and Mamata Banerjee? Every day we've seen Mamata Banerjee and her political leaders blame the left, blame the BJP, blame the Congress in West Bengal. Why does politics have to come into such a heinous crime, sir? Why can political leaders not take responsibility, Mr. Vyas? Why is it so difficult?
Madhav, as far as failure and non-performance of duty of the police station concerned and the officer concerned is concerned, yes, the state government has taken the responsibility. We admitted, yes, there was a negligence on the part of the police, the concerned officers, and that's why SIT is formed. Under the headed by IG level senior IPS officer, Ms. Aarti Singh. That is already started their work. Once the report is there, believe me, serious possible action under the procedure is laid down will be taken against those concerned police officers who were guilty of non-performance of their duty.
Sir, what action has been taken right now is very little. Suspension has happened and we all know in this country what suspension means. 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, 2 years, the persons will be back in their jobs as usual. What criminal action has been taken? Who in the school has been arrested? Who amongst the police officers have been arrested for this criminal negligence and insensitivity? Just suspending an officer is not enough, sir. People want answers and action.
Madhav, you will appreciate there is a procedure laid down. We can't bypass the procedure, and the procedure is already initiated. And as far as school management is concerned, they are also suspended. Principal is suspended. 2 teachers is suspended. And under the law, POSCO Act, Section 19, if I remember properly, if the principal or the head of the institution, after knowing that this heinous crime has taken place as regards to the minor, if fails to report to the concerned police station within 24 hours, she or he can also be prosecuted. And definitely, and rest assured.
So who has begun that prosecution? Unfortunately, sir, the prosecution today is being led by one of your candidates for an MP election, for the Lok Sabha election. And therefore, the opposition is questioning even the selection of the public prosecutor in this case. Let me bring in Pranay Ajmera. Pranay Ajmera, all due processes are being followed in this case by the state government. There is absolutely no lack of clarity or conviction in terms of action. Do you agree with these kind of comments? If I've summed up what is being stated by Advocate Sushil Vyas over here, do you agree with him?
Madhav sir, today I am not representing this debate on behalf of a party or on behalf of anything else, but here I am today I am here in capacity of a father of a daughter who is 4 years old and goes to school every day. Sir, please consider the trauma every parent in the country today is going from. Every parent who sends their daughter to the school and expect a good education from them is actually agitated today because of the reason that 2 little daughters of this country, 2 little daughters of this motherland has been subjected to such a heinous crime in our state, and these police officers were just not in a mood. I would use this word again. Were just not in a mood to file an FIR. They took 12 hours. They made the mother of one of the victims stay there for 10 hours, and actually that mother is a pregnant lady. How inhuman was that? At the same time, all over the state, SMSs, videos of these police officers dancing in the police station, smoking and playing jugaad in the police stations are rolling all over the social media. And when this kind of a heinous crime is taken place in their locality, this police person takes time to try to follow all the procedures which were just not prescribed in the law books, and just try to delay the matters. This is delaying tactic. Just because of the reason that this particular school belongs to a person who is somewhere associated to the party in power, and Here it is crystal clear that the police tried to dabofy the matter. दबाने की कोशिश की है पुलिस ने. At the same time,
Charu Pragya, respond to that.
incident-
I want Charu Pragya to respond to that. Charu Pragya, we've seen several opposition leaders come out and say that the person, one of the administrators or one of the trustees of that particular school's board was a member of the BJP. This is the allegation that is coming in from opposition parties. And that's why the entire matter was suppressed. It's a very serious charge if it's true.
Madhav, there has been no proof to that. But even if there is proof to that, it doesn't matter who the school belonged to. Those who are guilty will be punished and will be punished to the highest degree. The Honorable Chief Minister of Maharashtra, the Honorable Deputy Chief Minister of Maharashtra have personally taken responsibility. They were not hiding. They were taking strong, strict action and at the same time facing the media, issuing statements and making sure that things are changing on the ground. Yes, the police messed it up, but the police chief of the district was immediately fired. You cannot run away from that. Action was taken.
No, Madam,
Taken,
one second. It's very nice to say glibly that he was fired. Suspension is not the same as firing. Let me tell you, I have some knowledge of covering administrative matters for the last 2 decades. Suspension is not the same thing. The person can be reinstated after suspension. What is the action that is going to be taken? What is the criminal action taken against any of the police officers? Can you tell me right now? What is the criminal action taken against anyone in the school? Can you tell me right now? It's over 36 hours since those protests took place and, shook the entire country. What is the criminal action? Tell me. If you have the information, please share with us.
Yes. No, let me finish, Madhav, and I understand your agitation. Trust me, I'm equally agitated. Every single person on your panel today is a parent. So let's remember that there have been changes done to our law to ensure people like that don't get off scot-free. And if you are giving a chit of some great lawyering to Kapil Sibal, how can you raise questions on how well Mr. Nikam will function? I find that objectionable. So Kapil Sibal, who's defending RG Kar Hospital, is great. Wonderful, because he's a professional. But when Ujjwal Nikam steps in and says that
Charu
he's going to be the
you're a lawyer. Ma'am, please. You're a lawyer. One second. Charu Pragya, there is a difference when you have a public prosecutor who's representing the state at the stage of trial. Please, this is a very basic issue. As a lawyer, I expected you to speak a little bit of, please understand the concern. The opposition is not raising a moot point. They are saying that in a situation where, 40 individuals are arrested, cases are instantly slapped on 300 protesters. But in the case of the particular toddlers, you took 12 hours. These are very, very valid concerns, ma'am. And particularly when it comes to the prosecutor who represents the state, there is an issue there. Let's not hide under it.
You're going to speak over me. No, nobody's hiding under anything. But action that was taken on the protesters was not because they were protesting. It was because they were putting a full stop to basic amenities there. The trains, they were stone pelting on locals. Those are issues which need to be dealt with. That is not what happened anywhere else. It was not a peaceful protest. If other locals are going
Anjali
to be
Damania, that action was necessary because it was causing huge amount of public discomfort and there was no other reason that action was taken against those protesters. Would you like to respond to Charu Pragya?
I am so angry. I'm so angry and disgusted with the politicians and their dialogues. Honestly, to hell with the politicians, whether they are from the ruling parties, whether they are from the opposition. We care to hoots as citizens. We care to hoots. We don't bother whether it is Kolkata, whether it is Badlapur. We care about those young girls. In Kolkata, it was that small, young little doctor, and here there were 3.5-year-old kids. For God's sake, leave that dirty politics aside. What I bother about is how the hell did those police not act for 12 hours? And you said they were fired. They were not fired. They are suspended. They will be getting their salaries. They will be sitting at home and enjoying themselves. The politicians should first not suspend. 12 minutes of delay was not warranted. 12 minutes, forget 12 hours. They should be fired. They should be not just fired. They should be tried as criminals. Because if you are letting such a heinous act to even go for a minute, that you have failed as an officer. Though I heard Mr. Fadnavis's speech yesterday, and the normal dialogues that come is, we have set up an SIT, we will inquire, we will punish, we will do this, we will do that. Please stop the nonsense. First and foremost, if such a heinous crime is done, then that person, if you ask me, he needs to be castrated and sent bear to the gallows for the entire lifetime.
This is,
once
Ms. Davania, I understand your outrage. I share your outrage. I think most of us are parents on this panel. And what Pranay said, it's something that would move anyone watching the show, any citizen who's a parent, anyone who is a teacher, anyone who has anyone in their family going to a school today would be absolutely numbed by the words of Pranay. But let's keep a control on our language, please. It's a debate. Let's try to keep it civil. We are all outraged. I, for one, am a very firm believer that no violence, not even yesterday's stone pelting, no amount of violence can be justified. And in that spirit, I want to ask Sanjay Jha a simple question. Sanjay Jha, we are all outraged. We are all incensed. The entire country perhaps is. But what do you do when a responsible member of parliament like Eknath Shinde comes out and says कि वो बहुत subdued था, आग लगानी चाहिए थी वहाँ पे? What kind of a statement is this, sir? Is that a responsible commentary?
Madhav, that is not a responsible statement at all. Absolutely, I agree with you. I think Praniti is capable of making a more nuanced statement. I understand that the emotional fervors were riding high, but no one should be making any statement that can be provocative or inflammatory and can encourage violence. My 2 cents really here on your program. I don't want to talk too much. Simple point, as you have rightly been saying throughout this program, and I echo what Anjali said to a great extent, there are children who have been probably, can you imagine the nightmare they will live with for the rest of their lives? I am disappointed with the Eknath Shindes and the Devendra Fadnavises of the world who make these token statements bereft of any empathy, compassion, or genuine remorse. These I will echo what Anjali says here. And let me just give you one point, Madhav, and after that, I don't want to really make any further statement. She's right. Rapes have happened, but look at how the politicians have conducted themselves. And I'll tell you the reason behind that. And I hope everybody watching this Times Now program pays attention to this data that I'm going to share with Madhav and all my fellow panelists as well. 46% of the MPs, ladies and gentlemen, who are in this current Lok Sabha have got criminal charges. Out of those 46% of the MPs, 31%, Madhav, 31%, think of that figure, have got serious charges, including murder, attempt to murder, kidnapping, crimes against women, and rape. Do we realize what we are living with in Parliament? And I therefore appeal to everybody who's watching this program, please, for God's sake, don't get fooled by any political party and don't ever vote for any candidate, or make sure that you don't vote for a party anywhere ever who fields criminals. And that's the reason why, Madhav, these incidents will continue to happen, because politicians will give patronage, because eventually they will wait for the news cycle to die out, and the victims will live the rest of their lives, and the families will live in all kinds of mental and emotional devastation for the rest of their life.
That's a much larger debate, and you're right. You're right that our entire criminal justice system, the ones who make the laws, if they are facing, legal action for heinous crimes like murder, rape, etc., it's certainly a huge issue of concern. But let me put that question across to Rupali Patil Tomre. Rupali Patil Tomre, of course, your party, at the end of the day, this is a much larger issue that Sanjay has raised, and I completely agree with him. The facts are there, and many institutions in this country have been working on this for a long time. लेकिन जब वेस्ट बंगाल के केस में सुप्रीम कोर्ट कहती है कि सरकार को अपना पावर, अपना फोर्स प्रोटेस्टर्स पे अनलीश नहीं करना चाहिए, तो क्या यही यार्डस्टिक महाराष्ट्र पे अप्लाई नहीं होना चाहिए? रूपाली पाटिल थोमरे,
बिल्कुल होना। देखिए, ये जो घटना हुई है वेस्ट बंगाल की रहेगी या बदलापुर की बहुत छोटी लड़की थी, ये बहुत शर्मनाक घटनाएं हैं जो आम लोगों ने किया। वो सरकार समझ सकते है, वो उनका गुस्सा है, लड़कियां सेफ नहीं है, इसकी वजह से ये पूरा उन्होंने प्रोसेस किया। मगर सरकार ने भी हमारी
All right, Rupali ji, I'm sorry, आपके ऑडियो में कुछ प्रॉब्लम आ रही है. There's a technical issue. I apologize for that. We will try and patch you again. But let me bring in Arka Kumar Nag. Arka Kumar Nag, you know, normally when such kind of shocking instances happen, when a Nirbhaya, for instance, happened, you know, we saw the kind of response that was there from the then powers that be. Somewhere parties, I mean, especially state governments that are constitutionally mandated with law and order as their responsibility, they owe it to the people to take responsibility rather than indulging in this political blame game. Because today, whether it is Kolkata, whether it is Badlapur, it doesn't matter. Today, you have a situation where such heinous crimes are taking place. Police go slow, does not do what it's supposed to do. People get enraged and protest. And then in the case of Bengal, they are beaten up or their protest stage is threatened. Here, you have a situation where there are 40 individuals arrested, 300 protesters who've been booked. You know, what really is going on? This is kind of a dystopian situation which is unimaginable. Do we actually have rule of law and order in this country? Arka Kumar Nag?
Well, I would like to make it a very clear point, agreeing with you that any kind of violence in a constitutional democracy is not acceptable. That may be Bengal, that may be Maharashtra, and a counter-violence by the government machineries in men in uniform.
And how about some constitutional accountability for an elected government, sir? Is that too much to ask for also?
Absolutely. No. There is a constitutional accountability. The Supreme Court in the Calcutta matter had already been very specific, and tomorrow the matter is once again before the Supreme Court for the CBI's report to be taken into. The point is that the investigations need to speed up. The investigation needs to be apolitical, and the trial system must be fast-tracked. So, like, if you see the CBI courts, matter will take
Mr. Nag,
years
Mr. Nag, these are wonderful generalities that you're speaking in. And, you know, this idealistic position is something that, you know, one would have liked if the state government had showed the same seriousness, because it's Supreme Court who's lamenting why there were no police officials present over there when the attack took place on those protesters at midnight for a planned protest. There are serious questions that have been raised by the court as far as the investigation itself is concerned, about the kind of case that was registered, why there were delays, why there was misinformation to the family. There are very serious questions that the state government is yet to answer and account for.
I'm sure, but so far as the 14th of August was concerned, without saying that the police did a wonderful job, I would like to say that the police had a hard job on that particular day, because there was protest in a lot of places.
Are you serious? Contamination of crime scenes, suppression of evidence. Supreme Court is saying this, and you are actually saying that I don't want to say wonderful job. They had a difficult job for a planned event. What was the intelligence department doing, sir?
Don't make false comments. Don't make false comments.
No, you are saying stopping short of a wonderful job, you had a difficult task to do.
Like the crime scene has been contaminated. Where are you getting this information that the crime scene has been contaminated? What is the source of information?
No, this is the Supreme. You want me to read out what the Supreme Court has specifically said, Mr. Nag? You want me to read out what the Supreme Court has said? They have said that evidence has been suppressed.
There was violence, but
evidence has been destroyed. Yes or no?
Contamination of the crime scene.
No. Yes or no? Evidence has been destroyed. Yes or no? Did the court say that?
What yes or no? Who is giving you?
Did the court say this or not?
I don't understand. Why are you in a national channel? You are saying evidence is destroyed.
Sir, are you aware of what the Supreme Court observed yesterday or not? Simple question.
Have not come up with the point.
Did you hear what the Supreme Court observed yesterday or not, Mr. Nag? Simple question to you.
Go ahead and verifies the report of the CBI. You must call me on.
I'm sure many of our panelists would have. I don't want to get into a debate with you. Let one of our panelists who's heard the Supreme Court. Anjali Damania, would you like to educate Mr. Nag what the Supreme Court said yesterday? Because he doesn't seem to have followed those proceedings which went on for hours. Maybe he missed some of the words of the bench. Would you like to educate him, please?
Exactly. I wish I would have had those in my hand. I would have probably read it out to Mr. Nag. Madhav, there was one more point which I wanted to mention in the Badlapur matter. If you permit me, I just wanted to highlight that this Shinde faction had an ex-corporator, Mr. Brahme, who went on, like Mr. Nag is saying, he went on to the extent to say, when a lady journalist asked him a question, he said, "You're arguing as if you have been raped." This was the kind of explanation that he gave. And here we see Mr. Nag talking this nonsensical language. Mr. Nag, enough. The whole country has seen. Today we saw the colleague of that accused running away from the camera. He actually sprinted away. Why the hell did he do that? And if I would have had those papers in my hand, I would have loved to read it out to you, Mr. Nag. And enough of this nonsense. For God's sake,
Mr.
they
Nag,
were daughters.
Mr. Nag, Anjali, let me come in now because we have limited time on this debate. Mr. Nag, listen in. Since you've clearly not followed yesterday's proceedings, let me educate you, because 36 hours later, if this is the state of a political analyst and a lawyer who has not even followed a Supreme Court hearing in a matter that you're debating, let me educate you here on national television. What was the principal doing? Critical facilities are damaged. What was the police doing when the mob entered the hospital? They had to protect the crime scene. What were they doing? Evidence has been destroyed, Mr. Nag. Evidence has been destroyed. Principal resigned and was appointed to another college. We want CBI to file a status report by Thursday. You know who said all this? You know who said all this, Mr. Nag? It's the Chief Justice of India.
I will say that evidence
It is the Chief Justice of India who has said this.
Observations of the court to something else.
This is what has been observed by the Supreme Court, which you are denying.
The courts are still
according to you, the opposition is wrong, the media is wrong, even the courts are wrong.
Hearing you.
What are you saying, Mr. Nag, on national television? Have some shame.
No, the courts are not wrong.
Then why are you saying that what the CJI is saying is wrong? Why are you denying that?
The courts are saying.
You are calling it an exaggeration on national television?
I never said so.
Of course you are saying. You denied it just now a few minutes ago. This is a limit of brazenness. And this is the brazenness of politicians that people of this society and this country are fed up with. There's a limit to being in denial and living under a shell. Because politicians and spokespersons such as you think that the citizens of this country are fools who will lap up anything that is given to them, and nobody is questioning them. I am sorry, sir, in a democracy, everyone is accountable, whether it is the BJP, whether it is the TMC, whether it is the Congress, whether it is the NCP. Every political party will have to be accountable. When they commit crimes, where they do not show responsibility, you will be questioned.
So is the
Please
media.
Remember that.
The media has to be equally accountable. Like
we will be equally accountable, sir. We are quoting the Chief Justice and you're calling us wrong.
You are
have some shame on national television, please, Mr. Nag.
Sir, you are accountable.
I am accountable and I am accountable to the truth. That is my job. Are you accountable for the governance of your political party? No.
Because
no. There is zero constitutional morality in any state that we are looking at where such heinous crimes take place, Mr. Nag. And that's the sad reality of what we are facing today.
Accept that.
And let me put this question also to Advocate Sushil Vyas. You have a former mayor of Badlapur blaming the media. What kind of language is he using? From TMC to Shiv Sena Shinde, the same language, the same mindset is visible. What's going on, Mr. Vyas? Are you going to take action against Mr. Mhatre?
Madhav, I was about to come to that only when Ms. Damania referred to that. So this is social media publicity was going on. Then Mr. Mhatre came in public domain. He issued a statement clarifying, saying that I never said that. I never said this is a statement which is attributed to me. Please, that is there in the public domain. So please, don't look Ms. Damania one-sided of story. He clearly issued the statement yesterday itself. I never uttered these words which are attributed to me. What else we want?
Sir, when the Mumbai Press Club issues a statement, I think there is a senior body of journalists. They will run some amount of fact-checking before putting across their point of view. But Anjali Damania, please respond to Mr. Vyas.
Mr. Vyas, for your information, that lady journalist came out, gave her bites. Not just that, her news publishing unit also came out and gave a completely... and it was Mr. Brahme, if I'm not mistaken, not Mr. Mhatre. So they have given a clear statement completely detesting what Mr. Brahme has said. And they have the audacity to ask the lady, you're talking as if you have been raped. How the hell could he say such a thing? And that's where I say these politicians have become highly insensitive, and it is high time people have to protest. And the cheek that the Home Minister filed 300 FIRs and arrested 70 of the protesters. What the hell is happening? Are we in a democracy or are we in your dictatorship? I fail to understand that.
और आई वुड लेट मी आस्क रूपाली पाटिल थोमरे. रूपाली पाटिल थोमरे, आपने सारे मराठी मीडिया में, पूरे नेशनल मीडिया में देखा होगा कि वर्मा मात्रे किस तरह का स्टेटमेंट दे रहे हैं. क्या आप मतलब आप किसी भी इंसान को, रिपोर्टर छोड़िए, मीडिया को छोड़िए, आप किसी भी इंसान को ऐसा सवाल पूछ कैसे सकते हैं कि ऐसे बोल रहे हो कि आपके साथ बलात्कार हुआ है?
ये गलती ही है. वो कौन से भी पार्टी से बिलोंग करते होंगे, उनके ऊपर जो जर्नलिस्ट के बारे में उन्होंने बोला है, उन्होंने एफआईआर दाखिल करनी चाहिए. देखिए, आपने पहले ही बोला था कि हर पॉलिटिकल रिस्पॉन्सिबल है जनता को जवाब देने के लिए. सबने ये ध्यान रखना चाहिए और अपने जो महाराष्ट्र में जो बच्चियां हैं, जो औरतें, उनको सेफ और सुरक्षा देने का जिम्मा दोनों का है, सरकार का भी है और जो ऑपोजिशन है उनका भी है. ये छोटी छोटी बच्चियों के ऊपर जो अत्याचार हुआ है वो बहुत ही शर्मनाक है और वो जो आरोपी है उसको हमारे सरकार ने फास्ट ट्रैक पर उनको फांसी की सजा देनी चाहिए. देखो, जो लोगों ने, जो माता पिता है, जो आम जनता है, उन्होंने जो प्रोटेस्ट किया उसका हम लोग समर्थन ही करेंगे, मगर उनके नाम के ऊपर जो ऑपोजिशन वाले हैं उन्होंने भी स्टेटमेंट देते हुए थोड़ा अपना दिमाग ध्यान सोच समझ के देना चाहिए, क्योंकि कायदा सुव्यवस्था भी महाराष्ट्र में रहनी चाहिए. मैं जो बच्ची के ऊपर अत्याचार हुआ है वो उसके साथ में, ये सब लोगों के साथ ही उन्होंने प्रोटेस्ट किया, उनके पास गुस्सा था. मैं मां कहकर बोलती हूँ कि मैं उनकी जगह पे रहती तो मैं भी ये करती थी, मगर सरकार ने, ये जो पुलिस ने जो देरी की एफआईआर दाखिल करने के लिए, ये सब उसी वजह से ये सब प्रकरण आगे जाके जो एग्रेसिव हुआ है. तो पहले ये पुलिस जिन्होंने वो एविडेंस गायब करने की कोशिश की है, जो प्रिंसिपल चेंज हुए हैं, वो जो स्कूल के संचालक है, सबके ऊपर गुने दाखिल करके साल भर में इन लोगों को, जो गुनेगार है, जिन्होंने बच्ची के ऊपर अत्याचार किए, उनको फांसी की शिक्षा होनी चाहिए.
All right, we'll have to leave it there, ladies and gentlemen, because it's a very disturbing situation. Because for over the past week and the last 3 days now, we are debating similar issues. When it comes to women's safety, children's safety, we have laws. But the police, the entire criminal judicial system has to implement it. The politicians have to take accountability and ensure that the laws are enforced in letter and spirit. That the citizens, and it does not matter if they're rich and powerful, which city they are living in, which rural district they are in, when they go to the police and the authorities, there should be immediate action. If even now we do not take that action, if we do not set an example, then no amount of even changing of our laws is going to help in any which way. That's the sad reality. Unfortunately, we still have examples here of politicians who are not taking responsibility. We'll just have to leave it there, ladies and gentlemen, because this is a situation that cannot go on even after the kind of remarks that have been made by the Supreme Court. If this is the kind of brazen attitude, just imagine what is the future, what is the hope for the common citizen of this country. All eyes are on Supreme Court. We'll be covering all those developments tomorrow as well. I'd like to thank all our panelists, Charu Pragya, Advocate Sushil Vyas, Rupali Patil Thomre, Sanjay Jha, Pranay Ajmera, Anjali Damania, Arka Kumar Nag. Thanks so much for joining us.